A little something for the weekend with Sam Hunt.
Yeah, Sam Hunt is back with us this morning. It's been a few weeks. Hello to you, Sam.
Hello, Wammo. How are you?
I'm good. Gosh, we've missed each other over the past couple of weeks or so.
I gather, yes, indeed. And I've been suffering. What's that thing called when you know, withdrawal symptoms?
Withdrawal symptoms.
I've been finding on Friday morning at this time, I've been sort of getting severe shakes and things like that.
Yeah. Well, here's your fix, and here's our fix. Here's everyone's fix. We're all fixing together.
So. I'm suffering a dryness of mouth, he said.
This is like a poetry needle exchange.
That's all we need. I'll tell you what. So when have you been to a festival? A few weekends, a couple of weekends ago, I was performing at Devonport. And where were you? You were down Oriri Point.
Near Oriri Point, there's a beautiful regional park there.
I know the park there, just south of Oriri Point. What was the festival called?
It's called Splore.
Splore.
Yeah, it runs every 2 years.
Right.
And originated in very much a dance, music sort of culture, but it's expanded from that to include a wide variety of music, but also visual arts and performances.
Yeah. I've heard of a friend of mine. She went to it, and I heard great reports. Actually, really good.
Just an amazing place. Just you could really lose yourself for a whole weekend there.
Good one.
Yeah.
Did you do it the comfortable way? Did you pitch your tent?
We did actually took a camper van.
That's the way to go.
But we did park on a slope.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, while you were doing those potty little things with the camper van, I don't know, it was the same weekend. It may have been. I think it was. I was performing over at Devonport.
Oh yes.
At the lovely Devonport, and gosh, dear me, it was very good. I had a lovely time. I did 2 sets. Caught up with my good old friend Dave McCartney, who has been playing as well, and heard Tammy Nielsen.
Oh, yeah.
Country singer,
yeah.
American New Zealander. Great hearing Dave, to hear his band again. It was really good. Also, when I was over there, I hadn't been to Devonport for a while. I often go past it by boat, going somewhere else.
Yeah.
But they hadn't actually been to Devonport for a while. Because in the old days, we used to do shows at the Esplanade, which is now, of course, luxury apartments. But the old Splade, right across the road from the ferry buildings in Devonport, was a great venue for bands and people like myself, And but going back this time, I was among all the people, a lot of people and things. I had a very nice time, and they looked after me really well. But my mind actually went back a lot of the time, and has been since, to a poet who had a big influence on me when I was very, very young. A.R.D. Fairbairn, Rex Fairbairn, who was very much, certainly in his later years, very much a Devonport poet. I mean, he was a great New Zealand poet, but Devonport was where he came from, and a lot of his poems, you can feel that feeling of early Devonport there. Beautiful poet. I was also made me start thinking about the poets who. I've often come across people who say, "Oh, there was a certain poet they used to love when they were young," and I find myself saying, "Well, do you still love them? As poets?" So, the sort of things often, they've outgrown them,
Yeah.
I think it's sort of, often that would be valid, I guess, but it seems a bit of a mistake to me. I have, and Fairbairn for me was, he was a big influence, and just knowing that a poet, when I used to go through Devonport when I was a little boy to go see an old aunt of mine who lived near Cheltenham Beach, and I knew that Fairbairn was still alive then. I was about 8 or 9. And he died, I think, in 1956. And just knowing there was a poet living here somewhere.
Yeah. Is that pretty exciting?
It was. It was. I remember that. I remember writing a poem about them. It meant a lot. And then, just before I tell you a couple of Fairbairn poems, I'll just read you a funny little thing which I wrote. This was written after his death. It's one that I wrote. I say it with some apology because it's a pretty old, bit of a shaky poem. But, still, I hope a few people get something from it. It's called Warm Ashes. I know to write you such a poem when tribute verses out of time will make them puke, may it. It is something between the two of us, that when you died, warm ashes in a wind near Albany, no one there was sober, not enough to remember where they threw you. Years afterwards, your friends gather, your death holds them together. One such time, a few decided to mark the spot, and so they laid a stone in memory of where most of them agreed they were. Like the day they all got drunk, your old deli mate turned on the plonk. I must have just left school, because leaving school, I thought I would do my bit and more. Remember you, packed a bag, a bottle or two, went and lay beside that stone. Later on, I hitchhiked on, another town, another home, the same old sleeping bag, one more poem, Fairburn, all to do with you.
I just wonder, because it's you saying it, it's you telling us this poem, so therefore, it is Sam Hunt, but I can still. It's still you, essentially the voice of the poem is still, I can tell it's you, but it's a younger you, but it's you.
Yeah. Going for a few easy rhymes there, another poem, another town, another poem, the same old sleeping bag, one more poem.
Yeah, not so much.
I don't know what happened to the sleeping bag.
Not so much into the rhymes these days.
Oh, into the rhymes, I use rhymes all the time. I'm just putting a new book of poems together, actually, chords, and for the publishers. Let me read you just a couple, if I've got time, or at least one Fairburn poem. Could I?
Yeah.
And this was a poem that meant a lot to me as a young man, because for me, a lot of my contemporaries went off overseas. They did their OE, and I found myself sort of sticking to New Zealand and going around the back roads of New Zealand. This poem always appealed to me. It's called To an Expatriate, with a little quote from the Old Testament, from the book of Jeremiah, which says, "Weep ye not for the dead, neither bemoan him, but weep sore for him that goeth away, for he shall return no more, nor see his native country." So, To an Expatriate by A.R.E. Fairburn. Pine for the needles, brown and warm, think of your nameless native hills, the seagulls landward blown by storm, the rabbit that the black dog kills. Swing with the kelp, the ocean sucks, call to the winds and hear them roar, the westerly that rips the flax, the madman at the nor'east door. Dream of the mountain creek that spills among the stones and cools your feet, the breeze that sags on smoky hills, the bubble of the noonday heat, the embers of your old desire, remembered still, will glow and fade and glow again and rise in fire, to plague you like a debt unpaid, to haunt you like a love betrayed. Always loved that.
Great.
Yeah. So a little special. Some other time some other time we're talking, I'll sneak in a couple of other Fairburn poems, like probably the greatest love poem ever written in this country is what belongs to him, called Farewell. But just as a part of this little four-liner, which I may have quoted before to you, Wammo, but I've always loved it. It's about sort of state literary fund and people who are always getting money for from Arts Council grants.
Yeah.
For Fairburn, I would guess, had been turned down on one when he wrote this one, which is called Note on the State Literary Fund, 1948. Bloody good. Here's a bit of wisdom I learnt at my mother's knee. The mushroom grows in the open, the toadstool under the tree.
That is fantastic. I've got to remember that.
I'll tell you again sometime. Wammo, you have a good weekend, and good weekend to all, eh?
Yeah, thanks very much, Sam.
Thank you, Wammo.
See ya.
See ya.
That was a little something for the weekend with Sam Hunt, only on Kiwi FM.